excited. We have Rhonda here, and Rhonda is our mentor in this business. And one thing about Primerica is that you find out that here we don't have a conflict of interest. You always have a mentor who is ahead of you, who has already done all the things that you are trying to do to teach you and hold your hand. And just like when you start out, you have your broker, your RVP, your maybe your upline, your recruiter who can help you go through the motions. As a broker, you also have mentors who can take you to the next level, helping you to develop into much bigger business. And so Rhonda, of course, is one of most amazing mentors and the most amazing women I've ever met.
Thank you.
And she's the absolute best communicator when it comes to this business opportunity. Jerry and Rhonda are one of the top earners in Primerica. And because they know how to maximize every aspect of Primerica compensation, I've asked Rhonda today to share with us how we get paid in Primerica, so you get that bigger picture from somebody who's really learned it from inside out over the last couple decades or so.
A few years.
Sometimes, you guys, it feels pretty shocking to be even in the presence of somebody who's made $38 million. We take it for granted in Primerica because there is so much of it.
Yes. Yes.
And it sort of becomes our reality, and we often talk about the fact that you become who you spend time with.
Yeah.
Right? And so just by having this access to mentorship with someone who made $38 million, right? It elevates all of our earning potential.
Yes.
So much. Because up until now, most of our surrounding, community probably makes 50 to 100,000.
Right. They're all struggling.
Yeah, so nobody can really elevate us if they haven't elevated themselves.
Right.
So that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We want you guys to make a lot of money, and I know everybody's at the beginning, so it's hard to probably embrace the idea of making $1 million. Right now we just want to make our first 1,000 or first 10,000 or whatever it is, but that's possible here. And the reason we want to paint this vision for you is so that it's worth it. It's worth the sacrifice. It's worth giving up a little bit of your time in the evenings to plug in into trainings or to go on appointments or to get good. It's really worth it. So without further ado, I want to ask Rhonda about the compensation. There is really no better way to describe it. I've heard her describe it before, and I've been in the business for 10 years. I never understood it quite as well before you explained it to me. And so maybe we can start with that.
Okay. All right. So let's first talk about commissions. Commissions are sort of like a dirty word out there, because I think that their commissions were for people that sold furniture or sold something else. It was 1% of 1% of 1% or something ridiculous. And they also expected a salary. So we've got to change your mindset a bit to understand the commissions in the money business are so large that if we paid you by the hour, we would be grossly underpaying you. And so when we go out and we help a family and we put a life insurance policy in place, you're going to get paid a commission. So that's what it is. It's a personal commission when we say the word commission. Our average commission in Primerica is $500. It's assuming a $1,000 premium on that life insurance policy. You had a 50% contract, you get $500, you get $375 of it paid to you the day you do this. So it cycles that evening, and the next day it'll show up in your bank account. And the rest gets held, the $125, for the 10th, 11th, and 12th month that the policy is in force. So with a total payout of $500 in personal commissions. When you do that, it should take you no more than an hour to 2 hours from start to finish, to introducing a concept to somebody, for them digesting it, which usually is appointment number 1, to going back on appointment number 2 and saying, here's what we recommend. You make the recommendation. So if one appointment takes an hour and the other one takes an hour, that's kind of the max. Can it be done quicker? Certainly. I've done it watching football with somebody during a commercial break. So it can be a minute or two, but most of the time it's a two-step approach because we're doing more than just insurance at the table. We're really talking about financial planning, financial independence, becoming debt-free and properly protected. So that conversation might take a little bit longer. So that's what we mean by commissions. And that's why I quit my job, because I knew that I myself could earn money every single week. Every 3 people that we show income replacement to or an FNA to will do business with us. So that right away, I know 30% of the people are going to become my client. Later on, after that first year, it was more like 60 or 70%. So it's never everybody, I can tell you that, because there's always somebody that is, I don't know, sort of just on the fence or not yet ready to take this or not completely honest with their situation with you. And there's nothing we can do about that. But for the most part, 2 and 3, 1 and 3 to start with. So I knew that if I made 3 presentations in a week, I would make at least $500 a week, which was back in the 80s, was the equivalent of what I was earning taking home at the accounting firm. So I knew that was my first milestone mark. Every week, 3 presentations. I was never going to have a financial problem, and I never did have a financial problem. So that's the commission explanation. The next way that you earn income is something called overrides. Overrides say that somebody on my team, which your team by definition is everybody below you. So I may have recruited Oya, got her licensed and trained, and Oya may have recruited Jane. Okay, so I'm going to draw out the way it was drawn out for me. So here's you. You're up here. Okay? You go and recruit Oya. Oya recruits Jane. Jane makes the sale for $1,000 a year. She only picks up, I'm dealing in averages, $80 the first month's premium from that person. Jane is a representative.
Oh,
Sorry. Stay on the blue, right?
Yes.
Jane is a representative, so she's at our entry-level contract of 25%. So she's going to get paid $250 commission on her sale. She went out, made the sale, and that was it. Oh yeah, let's put her at regional leader. So she's at 70% is her personal contract. Had she made this sale, she would have earned $700, 70% of $1,000. But she didn't. Jane, her teammate, did. So she's going to earn the difference between her contract, Oya's 70, and Jane's contract of 25, which is 45%. So Oya's override is going to be $450. Moving forward, the regional vice president is at 120. It's 110% personal contract, but 120% on a bonusable contract. So most RVPs are on 120. So that's a 50% difference between Oya's contract and the regional vice president. So Oya got the override up to regional leader. Then the regional vice president, yourself, earns the difference between their contract and yours, 50% or $500. Yes, we do pay out more than the first year's premium. Primerica's business model is set up so that a profit gets made by the corporation between the 3rd and 4th year that a policy is in force. So comp is paid up front. And the reason for that is because we negotiated that. So as a field force, as you delve into Primerica, you will understand that the field came first, the home office came second. So we started a company to right a wrong, to teach middle-class families what wealthy families already know. We took middle-class people as our recruits that would deliver the message, And so then as we continue to grow a company and get more and more clients and more agents and brokers up and running, we started to hire employees within our own home office. So our home office came second, still does. So in our contract negotiations, we negotiate most of the profit to the field because the overhead of the corporation is what's carefully watched, not the income of the field. So you're on the right side of the equation here, because the field gets to make all the income and the field determines the budgets for the home office. Every other financial services company and every corporation that I'm aware of works in the complete reverse. Okay? So that's how our overrides work. We have a saying in Primerica that when your overrides exceed $100,000 a year or $8,000 to $10,000 a month, you can consider eliminating the need for personal commissions. And the reason we say that is because what we want to do is we want to teach you the process so that you can teach others and inevitably be overriding a company within a company. We don't want you to stay at the lower rungs your entire career. Another reason why Jerry and I moved very fast through it is because we weren't interested in delaying the override process. You delay the override process by not developing others. When you develop others, you're accelerating your ability to get more freedom from having to use your personal pen, if you will, to earn your income. So that was very attractive to us, and I'm sure it's very attractive to you.
So if I came from the university background,
Yeah.
I was always an employee.
Mm-hmm.
I never had any comfort with recruiting somebody else. I was
Mm-hmm.
always recruited. I taught people how to get recruited. I was a career counselor, right? I
Yeah.
was teaching people how to sell themselves to a recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think when you come to Primerica and this idea of recruiting others and making income off of others sometimes messes us up a little bit. We're not quite sure how to embrace it. But, understanding overrides, it's clear that if you didn't help somebody make money, you don't make money.
Right.
So
And it's all up front. Like, you're going to recruit people, and when you recruit 10, only 3 are going to work out.
That's true.
So you can take a year to recruit 10, or you can take a week. It's sort of like up to you once you feel comfortable. Are you going to get comfortable with this idea early? I hope so.
Yep.
That we flip your way of thinking. We flip that employee to employer. All employers are recruiting.
That's right.
All employers take the risk of building talent that isn't there in the future, that quit or retire or die or get sick. This is being an employer. This is a responsibility, but that's why they get to make all the money.
That's right. And so in Primerica, I think the idea is that most people it's unbelievable to us.
Yeah.
That we get to be an employer.
Right.
So the business, the idea of ownership, having your own business, owning the company within the company, it's so far beyond our comprehension that at the front stage, it's hard to embrace it because it seems like we don't have a reference point. We've never really been given a shot.
Right.
Like that.
But your mindset, it's up to you to flip,
Exactly.
I mean, don't take your time flipping your mindset and examining this thing from a negative perspective. Just go, oh my God, this is incredible. You mean I can hire unlimited numbers of people? The company will pay for all their licensing and development on that side. I can get as many people life license, securities license, and all the other ancillary products as I care to, and I take absolutely no financial responsibility for that.
And every
That's
time
exciting.
they help a client, you make money.
You make money, right?
Like it is unbelievable.
Right,
It's too
and
good to
don't
be true.
feel like you don't deserve it. Don't feel like, oh, there's something wrong about that. That's how all businesses work. We build talent, and some people stay.
Exactly.
And some people spend a lifetime with the same company, and we're looking for those loyal people too. And that's want to spend a lifetime with this company, and they're out there.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go to
So
the
that's number
third way.
3, right?
The third way we earn income is what we call residual income. And residual says, I want to teach you how to build a secure income. I don't want to have you go out every day or every week and have to make a sale to feed your family. That would be incredibly difficult and stressful. It's fun, to do what we do, but I don't want the stress. So the residual income part comes from a couple different areas, but primarily the securities industry. So the way that it works is every time you set up what we call a PAC, a pre-authorized checking, which is an ACH in this world, for somebody to make a monthly deposit into their investment account. Primarily, this is, I would tell you, 90% of these, even more, are going to be retirement accounts in the form of Roth IRAs or traditional IRAs. And we set them up all the time for people. We can do it in our company for as little as $25 a month. You can start somebody on the path to having a retirement account, first of all, because most people, 67% of the public, does not have one, which is extraordinarily sad. And so you set it up for $25 when you're first getting them started on this new road to financial freedom. And then you're going to up it to 50 or 100. You'll continue the relationship and take it up further. But the point of this conversation is that every time they make a deposit, you earn income. On the $25, what do you earn? Not much. We earn, our dealer reallowance, I think, is what, 2.5%?
Well, no, it's 5% of accounts less than 25,000.
Yeah.
But then our portion of it is
right. Is around 2.5.
Yeah, like half of that. So
Okay.
it ends up being 2.5.
Okay, so yeah, it's a couple dollars. So nothing that's going to excite you. But what we learned early on was that if we were making a presentation, if nothing else happened, everybody needs to plan to retire.
That's right.
2/3 of the public has no retirement set up, and they all need to be responsible for themselves financially because there is nobody out there that's going to take care of them. The pension systems are long, 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 long gone. Social Security is a supplement, not meant to be lived on. So if everybody needs one, every time we were in a house or somebody came to our meetings, or we would try and say to them, if nothing else, we should set up your Roth IRA. We should just get you on the road to investing on a monthly basis in an IRA, in a mutual fund, so that at least you're going to have something when you go to retire. And so that gives a residual income. So what we learned is that if we set up $100, 1,000 of those accounts, we would get $100,000 a month in deposits. Okay, I hope you're following me. This is your deposits. 100,000 deposited every month. All of a sudden, we were earning $2,500 while we were sleeping. So the beginning of residual income says, I'm not going to be too excited about a $2 check, but I'm going to be really excited that if I set up 1,000 accounts, and that might sound like a lot, but to talk to 1,000 people in a year, that's 3 a day, or, it's not that many.
And everybody wants to save and invest money because no one else really offers that,
They
right?
all know they have to, and they have nowhere to go.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's the easiest product that we offer is the investment
Absolutely.
opportunity, right? Because there is no sale involved. You don't have to convince someone
Right.
they need it. Everybody knows it,
Right,
right?
right. Their awareness is out there, but they have nowhere to conduct business. They go to the bank, they put them in a lousy savings account.
Exactly, yeah.
They go call their insurance agent. They get another one of those cash value life insurance policies because that's all they sell. The consumer is betrayed in every avenue that they try to go down to do the right thing by themselves. So Primerica is the only company out there that will set up these small accounts for people in established, incredible mutual funds with amazing money managers, the equivalent of having billions of dollars. Their little $25 or $100 gets thrown in with the billions of dollars that these fund managers are managing, so they get to participate at the same level that wealthy people
Exactly.
do. The whole thing is incredible to me.
It is. Like when you think about the partners we have that manage this account.
Right.
They manage Bill Gates Foundation.
They manage it all.
They manage
Right.
Warren Buffett's assets.
Yes, they do.
And they manage our $25 a month.
Absolutely.
Like it is incredible,
Right.
right? And so,
Right.
and as an agent, of course, you understand this is why we have this philosophy of buy term and invest the difference, because you didn't just make $2. You made the $500 commission on your life sale, and then $2 on a pack.
Right.
But that $2 comes to you forever.
Right. People have to invest until
Every
they
month.
retire, and the average retirement age now has exceeded 70. So if you meet somebody in their 30s and they put this money in for 40 years,
Exactly.
and they add their inheritance to it from grandma or their parents, and then they get more aware when they're in their 40s and 50s how the importance of this, and then they up their contributions to $500 a month or $1,000 a month. Priorities change as life cycles change. So what I'm really telling you is that the residual income side is a big play, not to be ignored, to be taken very seriously. The other way we earn a residual income is something called a 12B1 fee. So what happens is the money management firm charges a fee. It's embedded into the fund, so it has nothing to do with the return of the fund. It's an embedded fee that they take for managing the money and the administration of it and the IRS reporting and anything else that's required of them. And you get a piece of that. So you'll get 12B1 fees as well on the same accounts. So now you're getting, every time somebody makes a deposit, you get a commission. And every time they keep it where it is, you'll get a 12B1 fee. Okay? For being the broker that set up the account, you are rewarded for the rest of your career, as well as anybody that inherits your business, blah, blah, blah. The financial reward stays indefinitely. One of the biggest attractions to the money business is this concept. People that go to MIT, Harvard Business School, Penn, all of them, know that if I go to work in the money industry, I only need to put in a few years and then I get to be on the golf course.
Exactly.
They understand this. They understand this from their wealthy parents. They understand this from friends and family, from their country club environments, that this business opportunity is the one that they want to go chase.
Yep.
It's also the one that all those firms chase after that graduate. They know as a freshman at MIT that they're going to Merrill Lynch when they graduate 4 years later.
That's right.
They're not recruiting from your neighborhood and my neighborhood. They aren't, because they value the education, but more importantly, they value the relationships
The
you
connections
have.
to the assets.
Exactly, the connection to the assets. Couldn't have said it better myself. So you and I got totally out of this kind of a career.
Yep.
It was never even presented to us, especially in a very positive light, by our parents. I was told to be an accountant or a lawyer. You had some teaching background. We have engineers, nurses. These are the careers that middle class families think are the upwardly mobile, nice income,
Jobs.
good jobs, right? Then you get exposed to the money industry and you go, are you kidding me? I only work for a few years and I get paid forever? Like, the whole thing is amazing. So these are really important for you to understand. You also will earn your overrides as a residual income. So as you build a brokerage firm out, and Jerry and I have, I don't know, a few hundred brokers, hundreds, I don't know. But they do business every month. Our hierarchy at the moment is doing at the rate of, I want to say, $17 million in new money per month is what's being invested. We earn overrides on that up front, so as the business is being submitted. We also get residual income from the PACs and from the 12B1s. So once you put an organization in place, it perpetuates.
So you basically make $2 million, and at this point, you don't even know where it's all coming from.
No. I
But
know
it's
if I were to
so-
like look in POL and start to really
Yeah.
say, you know, but which I don't do,
Yeah.
but the company knows where it comes from because they compute all the pay. I don't know.
So that's how much is it per month? If it's 2 million roughly a year, we're talking about like
180,000 a month. Yes.
So that's like, I'm good with math, and I'm
You're
struggling. It's
lost,
like
yeah.
$45,000 a week
Yes.
that comes to your checking account
Yes.
or wherever it is
Yes.
from all these different sources
All these
of income.
ways. Yes.
Because of the work you've done, mostly
In the
like,
80s.
In the 80s.
Right. Right. The people that we earn income off today are not the people that joined our business in the 80s.
Yeah.
Those people have long retired, most of
Yeah.
them financially independent, or even passed away. I mean, but what happens is when you build your front line, and what your frontline people, those people that earn $100,000 a year or more, like Oya, they are developing their teams,
And you get paid on
and we get paid on that. So that is where the perpetuation comes in, and that's why I can confidently tell you, you only need do it once. You build this front line of strong people once, and you train and develop them properly so that they can transfer their skills. You never need to do it a second time.
It's phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like we've been in the business for 10 years. You make money off of us, but you didn't recruit us.
Correct.
There were people after you, after them. But
Correct.
still, because we're part of this organization,
Right.
because that's how it
That's
happens,
how it works.
right? That's
how it works in business.
Most
you know,
people wouldn't come to this business if somebody before them didn't educate somebody before them,
yes.
and that's how it grows. And that's why the compensation system is set up so that you are rewarded for developing competent professionals, not just once, but you are rewarded perpetually.
Again,
Love
it's
it.
the field that built the rules.
That's right.
We decided this is how it's going to go. That we aren't going to pay a CEO and a co-CEO and a president and a treasurer and all that. We have all those executives in place, and they're handsomely paid, and they deserve every penny they earn. But they only get to earn that money while they're on the job.
That's right.
We build something permanent for generations to come because we developed the system
Exactly. And
through our founder, obviously.
And
We
that
have-
brings us to ownership, right?
Yep.
Is that the next one?
we
The
can go to ownership. So ownership is a concept that actually happened back in, I want to say, 1989. We had our first person in Primerica that he was getting paid $800,000 a year. He was actually the person that trained Jerry and I. He passed away. So when he did, we all just sort of went, now what? What happens? Not to the organization, because we were stable, and so it does perpetuate. Jerry and I our business didn't fall apart because the person that trained us was no longer there, which is important for you to know, because a lot of people work for small businesses, and when the owner moves on and the kids take over or somebody else is in charge, you know, it sort of crumbles, you know, because the genius was behind the concept, not anyway. So just as a sidebar there. Anyway, so we started on ownership path, and we developed something called the ownership plan. And what it says is that if you or when you earn $300,000 in a 12-month period of time, you then get ownership privileges, which means that you're going to get this big legal document sent to you and this beautiful certificate, and the certificate hangs on the wall, and the legal document says, who would you like to have your business? So you get ownership at the point where you've developed something significant that your family's relying on. So we love the ownership concept because what it did is it solidly placed all the leadership in the company. So there would never be an attraction to leave.
Yeah.
Because in my career, my husband and I have been potentially recruited by every single firm out there.
That's right.
I mean, for 35, they still call. You know, God knows why they're still calling. hi, would you like to consider a position at blah, blah, blah brokerage firm, So ownership is unique to the industry.
That's right.
And that gave us an advantage. At current moment, the industry's in disarray. It's always in disarray. I can tell you that the disarray is different in the 90s and the 2000s. Like there's always something messy out there.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we are recruiting 550 licensed brokers, active licensed brokers, industry professionals per month into our company.
So the brokers that work for Merrill Lynch or Edward Jones or New York Life or State Farm,
Yes.
once they understand our compensation model,
Right.
they want to come over.
They come here for a few reasons, and we could sort of sidebar on this one. Biggest one is ownership. When everything they do is proprietary to their company. Their company owns that client, that book, if you will. The other thing is they can't recruit and develop. They only have so much space in their office, and they have to pay for it, and there's no development. Nobody else is. So they end up with like a assistant broker, maybe an admin person. The most I've ever seen anybody have is 4 or 5 people.
That's true.
And so that limits their income, because if they want to expand, they have to pay for it. And they're not even allowed to do that within their confines.
How many
of their
agents do you
companies.
have in the organization?
We have, at any given moment, it's a fluid number, but probably upwards of 4,000.
So 4 versus 4,000.
Right.
That's why people come.
But we developed 7.
Yeah.
Well, really well.
Not
And the
7,000.
thing exploded.
Just 7 people.
7 people. We recruited a few hundred to find them.
Yep.
Us and our people, our early people, but we found them.
Yeah.
There were people like Jerry and I that were frustrated with the workforce and wanted to make a lot of money.
Exactly.
We wanted success, and we wanted a lifestyle, and we weren't sure we could get it anywhere. And you don't have to sign away all your personal finances. There's no signing a loan here. You aren't taking a chance.
$99.
Right, exactly. What the heck is that? You waste that every day. Who are you kidding?
That's right.
So out there in the brokerage world and in the real world, you either have to pay for ownership, like by buying something and risking all your personal finances on it, or you don't get it. So Primerica found a way to take the talent in our firm and reward them forever. So we started an ownership program.
Yep.
And that ownership program we're now in the 3rd generation on some families. It's unbelievable.
So basically, if somebody makes, let's say they make $1 million a year, they build an organization similar to yours, and they pass on, because of ownership, they name beneficiary. You literally get a contract where you choose a beneficiary, you put a name there, right? Let's say it's your children.
Right.
They get to own that
Correct.
business.
Correct.
So that $1 million income, because mostly it's passive, it's not, you don't go on life insurance sales appointments for 30 years now, right? So it's somebody else doing the work, but because of all this residual compensation, all this income is residual.
Yes.
And so it goes to their children.
Whoever you designate.
And then if the children move on, or if they, decide not to do this, if they can pass it on to their grandchildren. It's fully theirs.
They can.
So it's incredible.
You could also sell it.
You could sell it. And how
You
much
can sell it.
What's the
It
going
sells
rate?
for 8 to 10 times earnings based on the residual package, the securest part of the
So
income.
if somebody makes $2 million a year, their business is worth anywhere between
Yes.
18 to $20 million.
20. Right. Yes. And we just had somebody sell in the company, a man by the name of Randy Nelson. He was earning about $1.6 million, and unfortunately, he's a sick man. And his children are professionals in other, walks of life, and so he sold it to one of his best producers.
To the downline, right?
Exactly. So familiarity, continuity. Nothing changes. You now report to the biggest guy in the area. I'm just gotta, move on. And so he sold it to Bobby Go Cool.
Oh, nice.
For almost $20 million.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so the reason why somebody would sell would be if they don't have somebody capable
And licensed.
and license, or that wants to get a license. Like if, in my personal situation, we had no children obviously when we started, so this wasn't even a conversation. Then we had 2 daughters, one of which became a lawyer, and that's really what she wants to do. So you do give privilege to your children to, you know, live their own lives because you can afford to make that decision as a family. You can say you can do whatever you want. You get your education anywhere you want. You can live your life. You never have to worry about money again. You know, money's something that I worried about. It's not something that you're ever going to worry about, which is unbelievable to make that statement. Because my children, I'm sure just like yours, are good people.
Yep.
And isn't it nice for them not to have to worry about money all the time so that they can go on and be good people?
And do whatever they want.
And do good.
That's true.
Yeah. So she's a good deeder lawyer, enjoying all her pro bono work. And
Because she can afford it.
because she doesn't have to worry about feeding herself. And then our other daughter has decided that she wants to be in this business. So that's kind of fun. So what we accomplish in our lifetime, which who knows what it is, but the millions that we earn will pass on to her and her sister, however we designate. She'll take control, but she can go on and build it bigger.
Exactly.
So what we've done might marvel some,
Yeah.
but she's only 34.
Yeah.
What is she going to add to this over the next 30 plus years that she wants to be active? And so if she does it again, she adds 7 to 10, then the family income goes from 2 million to 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 million a year, because what we started, she's continuing
That's right.
at her pace and without, you know, obviously financial struggles.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are no limitations. So, yeah, I know. As big as you can think, you go right ahead here.
It's all possible.
Yeah.
It's all possible. I mean, it's a matter of time and not quitting.
Right.
Right? And
You
working
can't
the
quit something
system.
you own. I never
Exactly.
understood that. Why do people
Yeah.
walk away from something they can own?
I know.
I just
Even
don't
if
get
it's
it.
tough, right?
Even if you're
it's
slow
hard,
at
even-
learning, or some of it isn't digesting, or you're uncomfortable, don't ever walk away from
Yeah.
something you can own.
It's so worth it in
Yeah.
the end, you know, even if all you get is the first level of ownership, if it's, you know, just 300,000.
Well,
And
the
that's
other
it,
thing
you
is,
don't
if you
get it.
keep your license, and we've had people in our business for 30 plus years that have kept their license, and they occasionally
Help
find a
somebody.
client, help somebody, but these people are earning 800 a month residual, 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, 3,000. That means a lot to them.
That's right.
That's the difference between living in a bad neighborhood and a good neighborhood. I mean, we can never dismiss the smaller part of Primerica, because it is a big deal.
Exactly.
And I've seen it change people's lives, just being able to be here. And so you keep your license, and there are years when you're participating more than other years, but don't ever feel like you're failing, because you can't fail here.
That's right.
It's
There is no
not-
minimums. There is no
It's just
minimums.
not
There
part
is
of our culture.
Exactly.
We don't fail.
Yeah.
We just have people come in. I came in super committed and stayed that way. Other people allow distractions to sort of come and go and come and go, but that's their privilege here. This is why I say we built a company
That's right.
based on what we would consider a role model for other companies, an ideal situation for a working mom, for my daughter who's a new mother, to be able to take time off and come back, and when she has some more
Complete
freedom.
flexibility.
It's
right?
incredible.
Yeah, no, I often say, because, you know, I've had 3 children here.
Yes.
So my youngest is in 2nd grade. So it was literally 3 years ago that he went to kindergarten.
Yeah.
But so my first 6-7 years in Primerica was my maternity leave.
Right.
It was my paid maternity leave, which I finished with being regional vice president
Amazing.
with
I don't know
a
how you
publicly
did it.
traded company
Right.
and a 6-figure income.
Right. That's amazing.
Whereas all of my friends who also were in the same boat when we were starting, but who didn't necessarily,
Right.
it's not that they didn't choose to, they didn't have to, I had to.
Mm-hmm.
I had to. I was not prepared for quitting my income
Yeah.
for the maternity purposes, right? but they're just starting to go back, and they're finding they can't get a job that is, respectable and or
Right.
recognizes their former degrees or accomplishment, and they have this big gap on the resume, and it means nothing. Right. So they're like they start from this entry levels in different new fields, and it's frustrating.
Right. It's terrible.
And so here, as a mom, or you could do it as a second career. I know for immigrants, right? We have so many
Amazing.
immigrants
Oh,
who
yes.
don't even speak English,
Yeah.
and they make half a
They
million,
figure it out.
three-quarters
They
of
figure
a
it
million,
out.
because the system.
Right. The
Because-
system's in place to allow them to, maneuver themselves. They can, many of them in the immigrant world, it's amazing. They come here, English is a second language, and even at that, it's very poor. And
Often,
they can develop their skills, and they're mentored by other people
Yeah.
that come from other nations that speak, they have the same native
Exactly.
tongue, who have worked through some tutoring and built some materials and get them through the system.
And there are
which
people
is
who
the
learn
exams.
English by studying for licenses in Primerica,
Yeah.
and we pay for that.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
And we don't say you have to do it today.
Yep.
Or you're out.
You can take your time.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. I mean,
phenomenal.
we could go on and
Oh,
on
yeah, I know.
about.
So we
how-
can
how
go
good.
to number 5. Number 5 was, I think, is it stock option?
Yes, we
Oh,
can
yes,
talk about
equity.
stock.
Yeah.
So we're a public company now for 10 years. Our stock is, it's considered a darling of a stock. Was IPO of the year in 2010, April 1st of 2010, when we went full time. The regional vice presidents, which is where you're going to learn that all the compensation goes to the one that risks it all. So, which is fair. You get to earn what you get to earn part time, which is incredible, but you don't get it all because you're part time. You haven't risked it all. So, all the comp, all the goodies go to the regional vice presidents. That's why you want to be a regional vice president. So the way we structured equity, so you earn shares on a monthly basis. They're paid out on a quarterly basis. You do not buy them. Okay? You earn them. They are given to you. They are a gift. So the way you earn them is for every approximately 7 life insurance clients you bring in a month. And if you bring them in through field training, you will earn between 6 and 10 shares a month. It currently trades at about $123 a month. So it's significant. So you could call that another form of compensation that will provide you with tens of thousands of dollars a year, or in our case, it provides us with a 6-figure gift every year.
Just because there are people on your team that are being developed through
Yes.
field training, right? So
Yes.
you get stock only because somebody is succeeding
Correct.
under your leadership.
Yes. So if I bring Oya in the business and I get her to district, I'm going to earn stock, division stock, regional leader, regional vice president. She gets stock and I get stock.
Yep.
So the way that works is that we have a system that encourages the regional vice president to work with everybody below them to help lift them up to larger contracts, get promoted, inevitably, earn the seat of regional vice president, also known as RVP. When you become a regional vice president, you earn approximately $15,000 worth of stock. So does the person that promoted you that day, day one, when you get the contract. You can earn generally there's a formula, but it's 15,000 is the award number. You get it. The person, if I promoted you, I get it. The person above me gets it for 3 levels above me, for a total payout of $45,000 in stock for getting you to regional vice president.
Wow.
And our stock is a top performer, as you can do the research yourself.
So you, I, and anybody above you, basically,
levels
we
above.
have all financial interest in the person watching becoming a regional vice president.
Yes.
So the sooner you become a regional vice president, the sooner you get your stock and we get ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
that it's what I talk when I look at it, it's such a complete alignment of interest.
Mm-hmm.
There's no conflict at
Right.
all. And
Right.
sometimes, we come from this traumatized world where
Yeah.
we've been taken advantage of, or we've been, screwed
Right.
right and left. And it's very hard for us to trust that a person that is working with us really works with us for us. But in reality, we work with us for you and for us.
Right.
Because we win when you win. Nobody wins in Primerica if you don't make money.
Right.
It's like, then we are all wasting our time.
Right. You're right. It's all in alignment.
Yep.
We bring you in. It's on us. We develop you. We understand you can't fail if you allow us to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So we can look at you in the eye and say failure is not an option because you have me.
That's right.
So we're gonna do this together. We're gonna lockstep, and we're gonna make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the stock, it also creates even more ownership in the business. So you're earning shares of stock. You're working towards your $300,000 outside of stock.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say we get paid $38 million, we also earn stock. So
that $38 million doesn't
has nothing to do with the stock.
So the stock
No.
is extra.
Right, and the stock goes up about 15 to 20% a year.
That's
So
right.
there's that part too. So if you earn $15,000 in stock this year, you can count on 10 years from now it being worth 70,000, 80,000. Significant wealth gets built through investments, as we know. And so if you're getting paid more than you need for your lifestyle, and you invest in your IRAs, now you got this stock account, and that'll lead us to our travel. So let's go there for a minute. So another way that we get paid is through all expenses paid vacations, primarily going to regional vice presidents. However, we do take many hundreds of what we would call future regional vice presidents, people just starting out. So we have a competition that starts twice a year where we have these all expenses paid trips. So let me talk to you about those. First, from a compensation standpoint, the average trip, and it's you and a guest, if you win, is worth about $15,000 to the winner. The first thing that I can tell you is that you want to win a free trip because they're better.
That's amazing.
When you don't have a bill, when they slip that bill under your door when you're leaving and it's got a bunch of zeros at the bottom, even for somebody like me, that's kind of nice.
Feels good.
It feels great. You have a better vacation. You're not stressed. I can't even tell you how many people I see fight at Disneyland, or Disney World. They're busy fighting with their kids, and I know it's all about they're spending a gob of money. So you don't have that. We do go to Disney, and we do let you take your whole family, which is pretty cool, and that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, because they close the parks, and your kids don't experience the lines.
Yes. We close the park. They could go eat as much as they want. They can go on the ride as many times as they want. There's no lines because we're a few thousand people, not tens of thousands.
Our first trip to Disney was with Primerica,
Oh my
so
God.
our second was horrible compared to the
You
first
can't
one.
go on your own.
After that you can't,
No,
right?
no.
Exactly, because it's like night and day.
It's incredible. So our next trip is to Bahamar in February. So I'm from Michigan. February is obviously the worst winter month of the year. So we go prime season to a prime resort, and we take thousands and thousands of people, and nobody gets issued a 1099. So in most companies where they do offer incentive trips, there's always a 1099.
And the 1099 means that whatever the trip is worth is actually billed as an income to you.
Yes.
Right? So you still have to pay taxes on it.
Yes. So we have a special document on file with the IRS where they have agreed that these incentive trips are for personal development of our field force, and we do not have to show them as income. And we are the only company. So imagine winning a free trip with another company and you didn't even like the trip. Like you went to Arizona in July or something. and then they send you this $15,000. You gotta you gotta go pay tax on it. So now you owe $4,000 in income tax on a trip you didn't want. You had to go because the boss made you go. Like, it's so unbelievable. So all fun, but win both trips. So it's about a $30,000 a year perk. I personally have 4 a year because we go to a senior leadership meeting. We just, and I don't pay any expenses. I don't pay any. I love them all. Have been doing this my whole life.
Yeah. So you've probably been to Hawaii like 20 times or so.
Many times in Hawaii. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, well,
my whole life, I've had a couple trips every year paid for.
All expenses paid.
All expenses with the best people in the world.
I know, and it's a great company. Like you have so much fun. You develop friendships. So it's like it's like friends reunion every time, right?
Every time you go, you know everybody that's there, and you meet the new ones that are there. Never fails. Jerry and I are sitting at a dinner table, and next to us is always a couple that's been in the business 3 weeks and run the trip, you know. And we always go, how do you do that, you know? But so we take everybody that's on the field, playing it, competing. It's so fun. So Baha Mar will be over in about, I don't know, 40 days or something like that. The trip will be over. Watch for the next one. And like Oya says, everything's in alignment with you to become successful here. If you just pay attention to how to win the trip, you're on pace for everything else. So we get the behavior we're looking for by these trip incentives. And then, you know, you wake up and you go, oh my God, I have a team, I made money, I won a trip, and now I'm, you know, halfway to RVP, or I'm all the way.
That's right. And you might be just fighting for a trip because that's all you can kind of comprehend.
Right.
But to get to the trip, right, even now, Baha Mar, you can compete for Baha Mar because there is like this lottery system right now, the draft pick, you know. So if you do one by one, and we did that training, so if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's from this last week. But, you know, if you do one by one, you get a draft pick to go into the pool.
Yeah.
So now you have a shot to win being 3 weeks in the business, right? Or 5 weeks in the business.
Which is so fun.
You don't even have to be licensed. Even if it's a field training observation, you get a draft pick.
Somebody that's been here as long as you have is going to be on their trip.
Yeah.
And I promise you, they're going to end up sitting next to me at a dinner. So never count yourself out.
Yeah.
Just listen to your leader talk to you about these things. Be coachable and let her get in your head that you can do this, and do one step at a time, and all this opens up for you in a very short period of time.
That's so true. That's phenomenal. So I had one question before. I know it's been already a very detailed.
It's been fun.
It's awesome. It's awesome, and I think it's so incredibly helpful.
Good.
Because somebody who will watch it, who is maybe doubting if it's even worth the time, if they can do it.
Right.
You know, just understanding all the sources of income. And I mean, I think it took me like 5 years to even understand that it's all available.
Right.
You know, so if you understand that first week, or, you know, 3 weeks into the business, you're way ahead of most of us, right?
Right. You usually find out on a need, don't know basis, like, where did this money come from?
Exactly.
Oh, you know?
I just learned that. That's great. But the question I had, you know, if it's a completely new person and they just starting out, you know, it's much easier to know, kind of looking at the rear view mirror, what to avoid and what to focus on.
Yeah.
What would you say there should be their complete focus at the beginning?
Well, it's kind of a loaded gun, you know,
That's
because I don't want to limit your thinking.
That's right.
But you for sure want to get your first sale under your belt.
Yep.
Because once you can do one, you can do thousands, you know?
And you get your first sale with a trainer, right?
Yes,
so it's not as you don't have to do it yourself. That's not the goal. It's you want to watch somebody.
You got to have a few appointments set, and you got to let the trainer do the work until you go, that's all there is.
Yep.
So you get so comfortable that I can do this.
That's right.
Just because I wasn't trained to do this doesn't mean I can't.
Yeah.
And because I was trained to do what I was trained doesn't mean I have to do that the rest of my life either.
That's right.
Like, if you don't want to do whatever you're doing the rest of your life, don't. You know, just don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to anymore. So I would say your first sale, your first recruit, and your first license.
That's right.
You know, and once you get those three under your belt, it opens up a whole new feeling about a career and a direction and a purpose and the possibilities.
That's right. I think, sometimes because we recruit people part-time,
Mm-hmm.
and many people are attracted to this just part-time income, that they sort of don't even realize what they stepped into,
Right.
and what possibilities are there.
Well, I did it.
Yeah.
I spent the first 3 months in the back seat of a training room looking for the gotcha, and I was going to call the state of Michigan's Attorney General's office. I was an accountant. I was leery. I was suspicious.
And your dad was a lawyer,
My
right?
dad was a
Yeah,
lawyer. He was
so
a
you-
criminal lawyer, and he was busy feeding me with the, they're probably committing crimes in there, So I really,
You were negative at the beginning.
totally, I
Oh.
was totally suspicious. And then, just one day you turn.
Yeah.
You just do, where it all went away. It got all resolved in my mind.
Well, I guess when you see people doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and doing it at such different levels of
Yeah.
success, it's kind of hard to fight it.
Oh, you can't today.
Yeah.
Today you have no reason.
Yeah, people say, it's too good to be true. It sounds too
You're
good
right.
to be true.
You're
but
right,
it's
it
like
is.
we can't make it sound any worse.
Right.
Because it is what it is.
Right.
It's incredible.
Right.
It's incredible. So this has been incredible. Thank
Good.
you so much.
Thanks for inviting me
Yes,
in.
No, and
Been fun.
it's hopefully it elevated all of our income potential now, right? So now we can aim for the millions.
Yeah.
Whereas before we were thinking maybe $500 a month extra
Right.
is all I want.
Right. This is bigger than big. When I came in this business, the biggest income earner earned $100,000.
Wow.
So now that the biggest income earners, I think over $5 million a year, I suspect in your career, and I'm hoping in my longevity in this career, we'll see people earning $1 million a month very soon.
That's incredible.
That the needs out there. And when we talk about becoming a regional vice president, that's a big focus of our company. Understand the market, the adult marketplace grows faster than we can grow our company. So if you're at all concerned about saturation, dispel that now. We want you at regional vice president so you can start owning your own branches, and you can start with your first branch and branch out. And it is thought that based on the studies that have been done on our company by very large consulting firms, they think we might be able to get 5% of the market if we can grow the regional vice president level to 4 times what it is in the next 20 years.
Wow. So there's a lot of room for anybody who wants to succeed.
Yes, we want you to lead. We want you to get to the top. We want to put a solid, huge income in your pocket and let you loose.
Because the more money you make, the less likely you're going to go anywhere.
You're not going
And
anywhere.
then we retain the talent like you.
Yes,
Because
yes.
you're not going anywhere.
Nobody's
correct?
going anywhere.
Who's going to walk away?
Because I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, $45,000 a week. Why would you leave?
No one's leaving.
That's
I can
right.
tell you that. But develop yourself. Understand this is a personal development course with a big compensation package attached. And you qualify.
That's right.
You can do this. And as the more you get exposed to our company, the more you look at people and you go, if they can, I can.
That's right.
And you're right. I was clumsy at the whole,
you-
but I believed in it.
And
It was an aha moment for me when I realized that my grandmother could have saved $100 a month or $20 a month and left me $250,000.
If she
That
knew.
I didn't need student loans and that I didn't need to struggle. And I started working as a lifeguard when I was 14. Like, none of that had to take place
Exactly.
if they had the education. So I got super passionate about everybody deserves to have this information.
That's right.
And that's all I was passionate about. I really wasn't understanding this enormous comp program because, frankly, it wasn't all in place.
Yep.
And I really wasn't focused on it. I just wanted to leave accounting because that was boring. And this felt so right.
And clearly it was, right?
Yeah, it
So,
still feels so right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll look forward to all of your successes, and hopefully your stories will be told soon enough.
They will be.